Yeah, so it seems like you saw this pocket in the alternative space, you saw this opportunity, and you seized it, you took it. And with that in mind, just from being the co-founder and now the chief revenue officer of Altigo, can you tell us a little bit about just the journey through your own company and just what you've learned along the way?
Yeah, happy to share more. It's been quite a journey working with hundreds of individuals that have been on both teams, the WealthForge and Altigo teams, going from 4 people in a startup business, really from an idea with me and my co-founder to some of the early employees and some of the business model shifts. We've pivoted, we've grown as an organization, but it was always founded around alts, transparency, access, and efficiency. And so in the early days of WealthForge, we were playing kind of online matchmaker, online investment banker, connecting my co-founder's father and some of his friends and some local high net worth investors directly into private companies and into real estate. So really kind of being an online investment bank. And that's what our FINRA license originally said. We were probably two of the youngest kids to found a broker dealer, and that broker dealer license said to do online private placements. And then in 2012, the Jobs Act passed. So we were contributing guests and authors to a book called The Crowdfunding Revolution, coming out of the 2008 recession. The Office of Science and Technology Policy of the White House picked up that book. Part of the research in that book said, big companies churn jobs. In good economies, they add jobs. In bad economies, they shed jobs. But net new small businesses, startups, create net new jobs. And so that book was picked up by the White House, and they obviously in 2008, 2009, 2010 had very high unemployment. They wanted to get employment back, and part of the research from the Kauffman Foundation in that book said that we need to get money to small businesses. We need to encourage entrepreneurship. We need to scale job creation through investing in promising young businesses. So, a bunch of legislation and lobbying led to the Jobs Act, which was bipartisanly passed in 2012. And the Jobs Act did a bunch of things to promote online capital formation. It allowed for general solicitation. It allowed for Reg A. It allowed for a pre-IPO on-ramp. It allowed for regulation crowdfunding. And so when that piece of legislation, which was the biggest change from securities rules since 1933 and 1934 around private capital formation, happened, a whole bunch of other groups around the country popped up and said, we want to raise online capital for real estate or for art or for cars or for litigation finance or for energy. And we saw that happening. And a couple kids and a small team in Richmond, Virginia said, we probably can't be the front end for this. We don't know too much about Silicon Valley tech. We don't know too much about Texas oil. We don't know too much about New York real estate. But we do know the regulatory process, and we do have the technology that allows for people to subscribe at scale, and the subscription process is 95% the same every single time. So we could sit back and become kind of the picks and shovels. We could promote and enable these online marketplaces to do transactions legally, with proper diligence and with investor protections and with easy tech. And so that that industry grew. The Jobs Act promoted these crowdfunding platforms, these groups to do online finance, and we were kind of the intel inside, the picks and shovels, promoting or enabling a lot of that through our technology and our licenses. That was great. For several years, we did a couple, tens of millions on our own through kind of being an online investment bank. We did hundreds of millions, through these online crowdfunding platforms. And what we realized, now we're in about 2014 timeframe, is these new online portals were nascent as well. They had small balance sheets, but they worked with some great sponsors or fund managers that had 20, 30-year track records and doing stuff that was really innovative and proving to their clients, investors, that they could produce returns. So those we call them serial sponsors, those online fund managers kind of came to us and said, we'd love to use your technology and your licenses too to scale our business. And we said, that's great. So we started bringing on some of our first clients in the kind of direct-to-consumer finance space, not just the portals, but the direct-to-consumer sponsors as well too, doing their own raises. But so, once we realized, we were working with these serial sponsors more, we always knew that most of wealth in America is still held by a financial professional, by a trusted advisor. And so even though we were kind of early and disruptive in online finance and bringing offerings direct to retail, we knew we wanted to work with financial advisors to really get to deeper pockets and really work with trusted intermediaries for diligence and for scale. And that also led us to build technology for financial advisors, whereas previously we had technology that helped the direct Joe or Sally walking down the street invest in real estate or invest in litigation finance or invest in private equity or a private fund. We had to retool that technology for a financial advisor to put it in a client portfolio and recommend it to a client and work with custodians, and that whole process was a whole lot different. So not only with WealthForge Securities and through regulation and diligence and a team of advisors and supporting fund managers gain advisor adoption and distribution through a services business, we're also trying to enable the market through technology that's scalable to allow fund managers and advisors to connect and do the business that they're already doing a whole lot better.